My sister and I haven't had the easiest life in the world. We haven't had the hardest. Not by a long shot. But when my mom and my real dad got a divorce, she protected us. She made sure that only the best people came into our lives. And she did a really good job of that. When I was about 4 or 5, I met someone that was going to change my life forever. I didn't know it at the time, but he did. He changed my life forever. Changed my sister's too. I met my stepdad. And no, I don't call him dad, father, daddy, or stepdad. I call him John. A lot of people want to know why, and so I'm making this video. I call him John because it reminds me that, well, because you know how kids, they have to call their parents dad, mom, stuff like that. I have to call my mom. But the thing is, I don't have to call my stepdad that. I choose to. I choose to call him John, is what I meant. And I know that sounds really mean, but I don't want it to. It recently came to my attention that he doesn't like the fact that I still call him John when I'll call my other friends' dads dad. But dad, like the word dad has no meaning to me anymore. My dad, he wasn't around. My father, he doesn't deserve that word. So dad, father, daddy, all of that has no meaning to me. Stepdad just sounds weird. If I were to say, hey stepdad, no, that would remind him every day that he's not my real dad. I call him John because, in all honesty, it reminds me that every single day, he's choosing to be in my life. And I'm choosing to call him John, so I remember, wow, this man chose to raise my sister and I when he didn't have to. He chose to give my mom unconditional love. He chose to give my sister and I unconditional love. My sister and I, we've messed up a lot, as most kids do. And he still loves me. For a while I had an issue with him, like with wanting to call him dad, but I didn't want to at the same time. And today I finally put it all together. It's because I chose him and he chose me. He didn't have to raise me. He didn't have to make me the good person that I am. He chose to. And honestly, I love him more than I love my real dad. I love him like any daughter would love their real dad, more than most kids love their real dad. I love my mom unconditionally, and today it made me realize I love her even more because she brought John into my life. I will continue to call him John, because that way, every time I say his name, I remember and he remembers. He chose me, I chose him. He chose my sister, she chose him. He chose my mom, and she chose him. So right now, I am choosing to say, I love you, John. And I'm going to continue to call you John for the rest of my life and your life. Because you chose me, and I chose you. Thank you for choosing to raise me. Thank you for choosing to be in my life. Thank you for taking over for my dad when he wasn't around. Thank you for dealing with me crying because my dad wasn't around. The word dad and father mean nothing to me, because my real dad ruined that word. No one can ruin the name John for me, because John chose me, and I chose him, and I will choose him to walk me down the aisle. I'm going to continue choosing him for the rest of my life. So when I say John, that means I love you, and I am one of the 3 luckiest girls in the world, because I get to call you John, and I get to know that you chose me. So, I'm sorry for all those times that I didn't call you Dad, but the reason I didn't is because that doesn't show, it doesn't mean enough. When I call you John, it means I love you, and I chose for you to be in my life instead of my real dad. It means I chose you, just like you chose me. And I can honestly say, if I could go back and talk to my 4-year-old self or 5-year-old self, however old I was, I would look at them and I would say, don't change a thing. Just tell John sooner why you don't call him Dad. I love you, John.